Aren't we objects as well?
Hey, don't jump the gun. I'm on a flow here, and you're just like ruining my flow. So, the first two teachings have been focusing on objects, you see, and understanding what objects are: subtle objects, gross objects, objects in the world, objects in the body, objects in the mind, experiences being objects. Do objects contain happiness? No, they don't. Today, we're going to talk about the subject. The subject, as I said, means me, for me, and it means you, for you. And I call these teachings the awareness teachings. I do that because it makes it hopefully quite clear that it's a conceptual teaching. I don't say this is the truth. I say these are called the awareness teachings. It's like a methodology here. And all these methodologies are, let's say you can say they're optional. Now what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that you don't, if you're to become enlightened, you don't need any single one of these teachings. You don't need any particular teachings. So you will see traditions where they don't have these kinds of awareness teachings in them, and they still work. But this is a very powerful teaching, and it crops up all over the place in lots of different traditions. And it's interesting, a teaching like Buddhism, which originally didn't really have these kind of awareness teachings in them, in the later wave of Buddhist teachings, like the Mahayana teachings, this sort of second wave that came a few hundred years later, after the teachings of Gautama Buddha. The second wave, they kind of reinvented all these awareness teachings, essentially. These teachings kind of pop up. Why? Because they work. They're useful. So that's what we're going to do today.
Aren't we objects as well? Hey,
don't jump the gun. I'm on a flow here, and you're just like ruining my flow. Yeah, it's great. Thank you for that question, Nisha. That's great. What's the answer then?
Yes.
How do you know we're objects?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm asking. Why do you say we're objects?
Well, what is I?
Hey, I'm asking you a question.
Well, I can't define it.
You've asked me a question, so I've asked you a question in response. You can't play my tricks against me and then ask me a question. We'll be here all day.
So, but to marry that, as you summarised the first two sessions, you said how we were talking about objects, and in that set of things that are objects are experiences. So you can sort of say, and experiences, thoughts, or we experience thoughts.
Yes.
Thoughts are experiences, bodily set. So, to your question of what is I, well, is there a separate I? There are thoughts, there are sensations, there are perceptions. Is there? So perhaps what's in what you're saying is what is there? What is there? What's the bundle? That's an I beyond that. Beyond that thing.
So what we're going to do today is arbitrarily split the entire world of our experience up into two things: the subject and all these objects. In our experience, there's one subject, me, and there are all these objects that we experience, that we interact with. Right? So we're going to set up this artificial duality. I'm using that word on purpose. And then later, we're going to see that this duality itself is artificial. And we're also going to explain why we set it up in the first place. Why do all this? Why? Now you don't have, as I said, you don't have to do this. That you can come to an understanding and a recognition of freedom that's already here, without going through all this stuff. but it's really useful teachings. And even if you don't find them personally useful, hopefully you'll see how they could be of use. And that will be good, because when you hear other teachers talk about it, you realise how it can be useful. And if ever you want to share this understanding that hopefully you will achieve and you will have, then this is a tool that you can use. And it opens up so many other traditions, just having this basic understanding. The other reason I want to teach it is because often the way it's taught, in my view, is wrong. A lot of people teach it as if it's real, as if there is this real thing, subject-object. And they call it non-dual teachings, but throughout their teaching there's actually duality that persists. And so that's the other reason we want to share it with you, so you can see through that. So you can see through the actual teaching. On my Facebook page, I posted, I love these picture quotes. I'm constantly posting these picture quotes, like picture quotes coming out of it everywhere. There's like one here, there's another picture quote there. If you go on my Facebook page, loads of them. And there was one of my picture quotes. It says something like, "The best spiritual teachings self-destruct." It reminds me of like Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget, the cartoon. I think the other one doesn't know. In Inspector Gadget, there was this detective, and at the beginning of every episode, he got given a set of instructions, like, this is your mission. Your mission is to do this. And then I think in the instructions at the end it said, in 5 seconds or something, these instructions will self-destruct. And then they had to quickly throw the instructions away and run away, and they went boom. Every episode that happened, I think, right at the beginning. So the best spiritual teachings self-destruct. They deconstruct themselves. And Ramana used to talk about his teachings as being like, again, it makes a lot of sense when in India, because he likens his teachings to a metaphor about the funeral pyre. And in India, it's common to see a funeral pyre, a dead body being burnt. And he says, my teachings are like the stick used to prod the burning corpse on the funeral pyre and allow that corpse to completely burn. The ego, you see, is the corpse. Allow the ego to dissolve. And then the stick itself, at the end, you throw the stick into the pyre and then the stick burns. And one of his teachings was the teaching, who am I? Who am I? Self-inquiry. Atma vichara. Atma means self. Vichara means inquiry or investigation of the self. This was one of Ramana's main teachings, self-inquiry. Who am I? Atma vichara. And he said the teaching, who am I, is like a stick used to prod the corpse. And then the stick also. The teaching deconstructs itself.